Fall is here. That means it is a wonderful time. It's the perfect time. Some say it is the only time for Ancestor Magic. Ancestor Magic. Now you might be thinking, people have all kinds of reactions to Ancestor Magic, right? You might be thinking, I don't even know my family. I barely talk to my family. You might be thinking, I don't like my family. We're not talking about getting on the phone with long lost whomevers. We're kind of talking about getting on the spiritual phone, tuning in to those which have gone before. Now you have choices, just like you choose in your life today who you talk to, how often you talk to them, the ways in which you communicate. You know, some people you only want to text, some people you want to see in person because you love them, some people you'll call once a month when you're in a certain mood. Your ancestors are the same way. Just like people alive today, our ancestors were a mixed bag. They were powerful, they were crazy, they were frightening, they were flawed, but they did one thing, and that was to stay alive long enough for you to get here. So when we talk about ancestor work at this time of the year, we are generally talking about direct lines to you. I have, as I've gotten deeper into the work, I have had spirits come forward that were not in direct line, my direct descendant, direct ancestor's cousin or something like that. But that's really getting into the nuance. We don't have to go there right now. We're talking about 3 generations or 7 generations back. So we can get overwhelmed if you've ever done like Ancestry.com or had to do your family tree for school project or just for fun. It's easy to get lost in the details and totally like overwhelmed by this, that, and the other. We don't want to do that here. Bridget Nielsen has the most amazing ancestral trauma, ancestral healing course that I've ever taken, and I'll link it down below in the bio, and you can check it out if you want. I use it to this day. I do not regret one single second of this course, and I go through it again on my own sometimes, the whole thing, just because once I've done like the matrilineal side, I was adopted, so I have like 2 matrilineal sides, 2 patrilineal sides. Once I've done one, I might dive into the other. Where you start is up to you. But before we talk about starting, let's talk about why. Somebody once said to me, why ancestral trauma? Why are you focusing on that? Well, because that's the stuff we carry with us. It's not the only thing we carry with us, but it's the stuff that weighs us down to the point where we can't access the good stuff, right? Something that a lot of people know. A lot of the stuff you're carrying in this invisible backpack and in your auric field, in your soul, in your spirit, it's not all yours. It's not all stuff from something that happened to you in this lifetime. It's not even always stuff that happened to you in other lifetimes. Epigenetics is very real. Your grandma's trauma passes down. Somebody once put it as you were an egg in the womb of your mother when she was in the womb, her mother. You know what I mean? So if you think of it that way, but epigenetics has been proven to be very real. So you may not know your grandmother. We often don't know our great-grandparents. We certainly don't know our great-great-grandparents. At least personally, we don't know what they went through. The degree of emotional intelligence we have today is mighty. It doesn't always seem that way after we go to like an office meeting or walk down a city street sometimes and we're going, God, what's wrong with people? But really, the degree to which people want to wake up, tap into their truest self, and stop their bad habits and do things a better way and be emotionally more intelligent and go, oh, that didn't feel good when I did that, when I reacted that way. I want a better way. We've got the internet. We've got people who make content you can access from anywhere in the world. And we've got a lot of huge mass awakening, of people who are all on this together because it's better. It's better than making a bunch of money and going on nice vacations and still feeling dead inside or still feeling so angry. And you don't know why. You never, nobody ever encouraged you to go there. Well, now as a collective, as a whole, we're being encouraged to go there. And I would venture to say we have to go there. This is the deal now. So, Bridget Nielsen has a great course. If you want to check it out, again, check the bio for her link. I'm going to give you a brief overview because we're going into Samhain and we're going into the thinning of the veil. We're going into the honoring of the ancestors in whatever ways that we do that. 3 generations back, 7 generations back, these generally have the most impact on us now as we're alive in this lifetime. I didn't, until I dove into this, I heard when people said that not everything was mine, but until I started to do the work, I didn't, and a trauma would come up with a certain ancestor, I was blown away. Like, that's why I always feel that way. And it's very personal, so it's hard to give you good examples. But let's see. I had a weird thing, my whole life I've had a weird thing about the time around like 3 p.m. And that would coincide usually like when I would get home from school. And I would just feel so sad, so depressed, even after a good day, even when nothing was wrong. And I wasn't actually suffering from depression. It would go away, like it would lift. But I would dread that time going home because I knew that I was just gonna be like, oh. And I just thought it was me. I thought something's wrong with me, you know? That's unfortunately our first go-to because we're not really taught how much impact things impact us that, you know, they're not our fault. They're not something we did. I even went and did a deep dive a couple times. Like, what happened to me at that time? Was I wasn't born at that time, you know? And I come to find out in a fairly recent lineage, something happened to a close direct relative of mine. And it was at that time of day. And when that happened, I was like, oh my God. Oh, that's what I'm feeling. And they described how they felt when this event occurred. I'm going to keep it private. I'm not being deliberately vague. I just, we want to respect the privacy. If you watched my video when I went to St. Louis Cemetery, I did ask for permission before I started filming. Our energy does come through photographs, video. If you've done an energy healing session with me, you know, Reiki or just intuitive healing and readings, you have felt the energy through Zoom or whatever means we used. So we want to be respectful always. These were people. Some of them still exist in a liminal space. They have feelings just like us, and their memories have feelings, and so we want to pay attention to that. Anyway, it is amazing when you dive into ancestral trauma what you will find out. And when you heal ancestral trauma, you heal your whole line. Not all at once. You don't solve everybody's problems. Not everyone's going to call you on the phone and congratulate you because, you know, they're not going to know. But this isn't work you do out of ego, right? This is work you do because you're spiritually gifted. And if you're watching this, you're spiritually gifted. And maybe you don't know how. And you can always contact me. We can have a session around it. I love helping people develop their spiritual gifts. And, you know, there's ways that I can help you determine what your gift is. You can start from there. When you start with your best gift, like your easiest, the one that comes most naturally to you, you will find other gifts, guaranteed. You'll be doing stuff in a pretty short amount of time, usually, definitely within a year, that you had no idea you would ever get to do. And, you know, it's really cool. But again, not from an ego place, not so we can brag about it, but because we're given these gifts because we have the ability to be responsible, to use them wisely, and to use them for good. And use them for good. I'm going to make a whole video about ways that consequences that happened to me in my much younger years when I didn't use it for exactly good. You know, didn't do anything evil, just when I would try to like manipulate people's will. Because when you're a young witch, like you will try to do that. You just don't know any better. And you learn. And so I'm going to share that with you. Not now, but you know, pretty soon. Anyway, along with ancestral trauma healing, you also find ancestral gifts. Your ancestors, no matter what it feels like to you or how messed up or screwed up your family dynamics have always seemed, and a lot of us, I hear people say pretty frequently, oh, my whole family's just messed up. That might be true. But they also had some very good gifts, and if they didn't get to use them, sometimes they get passed on to you, because the energy doesn't just die, right? It wasn't just for that one person. My gifts aren't just for me. Even if I don't have direct kids of my own, I'm going to be passing this energy along when I depart this mortal coil someday. Anyway, I'm trying to say it's not all scary, it's not all doom and gloom, and the way that you can feel so much better if you've been to therapy and you've ever just confronted an issue and sat down and said, I'm so tired of this being on my plate, on my back, and I want to fix it, I want to get to the bottom of it. It might have been uncomfortable for a moment, but then you felt lifted, you felt free, and you were like, why didn't I do that a million years ago? Ancestral healing is like that, and it's so accessible right now, especially if you are newer to this spiritual awakening. We have different dimensions. Time is very fluid. You've kind of gotten these concepts, but you haven't tried to really reach out. This is a great time to learn to reach out. By this time next year, I hope to have a little course of my own and workshops that we can meet and go through this stuff and share our experiences together, because it helps to be in community where, you know, people have questions. Anyway, contact me if you want to do your own personal healing. We can do a session around it, an experience, a whole shamanic experience. It's going to shift your life for the better. Some blocks are going to fall straight into place. Put in the comments if you have done this work yourself. I'm curious who has. I don't hear a lot about it, although I hear more in recent years. Spirited Awake, incidentally, in addition to YouTube content and our Facebook page, we now have an Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have a Spirit Talk, and that's been a lot of fun. We're continuing to expand and grow every single day, so I'm glad that you're here with us. Keep on watching, keep on commenting, please like us. I get to say that now because, you know, we like to be liked and it bumps up the content so other people can see it. I'm wishing you the best introduction to the Salmon experience, to October 31st, November 1st area that you can possibly have right now. Wherever you are in the world, however you're watching this, thank you for being here, and thank you for doing the work. Lots of people can talk, not everybody will show up to do the work. And just by watching and understanding and learning this stuff, this spiritual stuff, you are doing the work. You're awakening your morphogenetic field, you're awakening your ancestors, you're awakening stuff in your aura that's going to lead people of like mind to you. And you will get the assistance you need. Guaranteed. Keep on going.